And the next question is bhakti alone enough to reach God? Or do we need jnana with that as well? So this is an oft-asked question. People think that bhakti is enough. A lot of people think, especially the devotional, the traditions, they say that bhakti is enough. But what is bhakti? First, we have to understand what bhakti is to see whether it's enough. So in Narada Bhakti Sutras, which is a very beautiful text where Narada talks about what devotion is, he says, Sat Twasmin Parama Prema Rupa. He describes bhakti as Parama Prema Rupa, which is the highest form of love that one can have, Parama Prema. But bhakti is devotional service, that love is expressed how? In devotional service to the Lord. Devotional service is bringing him into your life, actually. That is real devotion. Work is worship, as we've seen that. Swami often used to say that work is worship. So bhakti is actually, first of all, developing a relationship with the Lord, understanding who this Lord is, and it manifests as the most elevated, pure love that one can experience towards the Lord. So it is very, very important to have in spiritual life, because first of all, we have to connect to the Lord, and then once we develop this devotion, we are able to cope with so many things in life. Devotion is like an emotional shock absorber in life. If we have this bhakti attitude, so many of the saints and sages went through so many troubles, so many problems. We know the stories, Mirabai, Tulsidas, so many problems they went through. But did they ever take them as problems? No, they took them as prasadam. So when you have bhakti, you have the prasada bhavana, you have the prasada buddhi in your life. It helps to reduce the way you face your challenges in life, the emotional reactions. Bhakti also helps you reduce all other attachments in your life. It is a very good antidote. It's a very good sadhana to cultivate, to reduce attachments to human beings. Because the more one attaches to Bhagavan, the less one is involved in human relationships and all the ups and downs that human attachments bring along. Your ups and downs, human attachments will always be there. Any kind of human relationship, there will definitely be rubs and ups and downs. So the bhakti helps you to grow from world dependence to God dependence. But the growth should take you to self-dependence. There's three types of growths. World dependence to God dependence, but it should grow to self-dependence, where even Bhagavan, you see, when there's oneness of you and Bhagavan, where is Bhagavan? Bhagavan and you are one. Self-dependence, the Atma Tattvamasi, the ultimate equation is that you are that. So ultimately, it should grow into that you discover yourself to also be the same nature as the Lord. So bhakti is important, very, very important as a sadhana. We have to be very careful here. It is a sadhana, it is a means. But bhakti by itself will always keep you in duality. Bhagavan will always remain outside you. Bhagavan will always remain external to you. And that will always create what? Ups and downs again. Any duality creates ups and downs in life. So he will, the Srimad Bhagavatam elaborates on Navavida Bhakti, 9 forms of devotion. All of these involve, except the last one, all of these involve a Lord and a devotee. So Shravanam is listening to the glories of the Lord. Kirtanam, chanting his glories. Smaranam, remembering the Lord, remembering his leelas, remembering his stories. Pada Sevanam, doing service to his lotus feet or his padukas. Archanam, worshipping the Lord with chanting, with Archanam, with pujas. Vandanam, praising the Lord and stuti and stotra, all of those. Dasyam, having that dasa bhava, becoming a servant to the Lord. Everything is for service of the Lord. And then sakyam, which means developing a friendship with the Lord. The Lord becomes your friend. But the last one is the culmination of devotion, and that only happens in knowledge. Atmanivedanam is the offering of yourself to the Lord. Your ego is offered at his lotus feet, like Emperor Bali did to Vamana Avatara. When Vamana Avatara, Lord Vishnu came as Vamana Avatara, he had no place to put his third step. He was offered 3 steps of land. In 2 steps, he covered the whole world. He covered the universe in 2 steps. And in the 3rd step, he didn't know where to put. Emperor Bali offered his head. That is called Atmanivedanam. Total surrender. There is no individual there left anymore. There is only Lord. You become pure instrument of the Lord to work through you. That is knowledge. Only in knowledge can there be total surrender to the Lord. So in duality, there will always be this sense of lack. So bhakti with knowledge, it has to be there in spiritual life. They go hand in hand. They're not separate paths. They are very important together. And bhakti and jnanam alone hits the spiritual target. Bhakti is a great purifier, but jnanam purifies for good. Bhakti purifies. Living a life of devotion and service purifies your mind. But jnanam, knowledge, is the greatest purifier. Bhagavan says in the 4th chapter, 30th verse of Bhagavad Gita, he says, Nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitramiha vidyate tat swayam yoga sansiddhaha kalena atmani vindati. He says, in this world, there is nothing as purifying as this self-knowledge. One who has attained purity of mind through the practice of bhakti, of karma yoga, can receive such knowledge within the heart in the course of time. So devotion, he is very clear, is a purification process. It is a sadhana, it purifies you. And when you hear the words of Vedanta, words of the Upanishads, if the mind is pure, if it is prepared, then you're ready. You will definitely get it. You will get the knowledge immediately. So it's very important that we understand that knowledge is the key to spiritual enlightenment. It is through knowledge alone. Bhakti, all the sadhanas, pranayama, yoga, all of these have a place. They're all there to purify the instrument to know. But they are not the be-all and end-all. It is jnanam. We can ask, how can we remove physics ignorance by doing feeding the homeless seva? Can you remove your ignorance of physics by feeding homeless? No. It is only learning physics that you will remove the ignorance of physics. How can you remove biology ignorance by chanting a mantra? You cannot. You have to study biology to know what biology is. So how can you remove self-ignorance? Self-ignorance is the problem. What is opposed to self-ignorance? It is only self-knowledge. So only that which is opposed to something can remove that opposite. So self-knowledge alone will remove self-ignorance. This is very, very important. So again, Bhagavan says in the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yash chasmi tattvataha tato mam tattvato jnatva vishate tad anantaram, which means through this devotion, one comes to know, through living this life of devotion, through arpana buddhi, offering everything to the Lord as worship. Everything you do, work as worship. Offer, offer, offer. It is for the Lord's sake. It is not for recognition. It is not for big bonuses. All of that is a side product. But the real aim of life is to discover the Lord. So Bhagavan says, only by living this type of devotional life can you come to know me in truth. He says in the 18th chapter, that is a real spiritual life, to know Bhagavan in truth, to discover Bhagavan in truth. So bhakti and jnanam, this is the role of bhakti jnanam in the spiritual life.